Pour yourself a cold one and listen to the best college football picks podcast going, The College Draft. Yeah, it's Daddy Soda time here on the College Draft Podcast, presented, of course, by DraftKings. The crown is yours. The college football betting podcast. You have come to the right place. My guy, Emory Hunt, is on a hot streak. Still, by the way, a winning record as we head into week 12 in college football. Here's what we do. Every week, we'll go over Emory's 10 bets from the week prior to see how he did. Then we'll give you Emory's 10 best bets for this week, week 12 in college football, which is bananas. I think I'll just keep saying that. As a reminder, we do this all the way through the college football playoff, and then as soon as the season ends, there is nobody better than my guy Emory Hunt with college prospects for the NFL draft. This guy is like jack of all trades, five-tool player, whatever you want to call him. Follow him on social media at FBall Game Plan on Twitter, Football Game Plan on YouTube, or get the draft guide, footballgameplan.com/2026 draft guide. I'm merely Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman at Ross Tucker NFL. I will be on the call tonight for the Eagles and the Packers from Lambeau Field. Going to be fantastic. Westwood One National Radio with the man, Kevin Harlan. Should be amazing. Very much looking forward to that. Love all of you that check us out on YouTube. YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Please, 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 not only subscribe, but turn the notifications on so you can get to these bets right away as soon as Emory makes them, or on the very popular Even Money Betting podcast. Make sure you turn the notifications on because you want to get them before the lines move. Emory, let's start with Memphis and Tulane. You took the over 55.5 points. You were expecting a shootout in the American. That's exactly what we got. Tulane with a huge win. Devastating loss, by the way, for Memphis and their college football playoff hopes. 38-32. Green Wave.
And listen, this is why I've always championed the 24-team playoff, because this year we're getting maybe 3 teams that are legit. Hey, these are the teams. But after those top 3, everybody else is up for grabs, and anybody can be beat on any given Saturday. And so that's why I love the fact that this season is playing out, because it's strengthening my point on why a 24-team playoff with conference champs getting their auto bids, and then you can have your 14 at-large bids, because this is the type of season that manifests that out there on the field.
Well, I've told you before, I love the idea of every conference automatically getting a bid. What you do then is you're inclusive of the whole college football ecosystem.
Yep.
Every conference, you can get a shot at the big dance. And I don't care if they lose in the first round to somebody really good. Who cares? They got their chance. Nobody. Do you think the kids that are the 15 seed in basketball and they lose, oh, that's terrible, we lost? No, they got their chance. They were in the tournament. I am with you on that 100%. All right, Emory, what about Indiana Penn State? You took the Hoosiers laying 13.5 points because Indiana kills everybody, but they did not kill Penn State. They needed a fantastic set of throws and catches, some incredible catches by dudes I don't even know of to win that game.
Shout out to Penn State. They was like that cockroach that's immune to raid. They would never die, and they just kept coming back. And so Indiana, to me, really had to play their best game. This was like a playoff game in a sense, in how intense it was. And you're right, some amazing catches for Penn State. I mean, so for Indiana, including the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, was the touchdown winning catch out there in the corner, back of the end zone, which Gus Johnson just lost his mind, which made it even more spectacular.
If we have time at the end, I want to talk about Mendoza and Dante Moore from a quarterback standpoint, because both those guys came up big late. But I want to make sure we get through all your bets for this week. BYU, you took the 10.5 at Texas Tech. They lost 29-7 to the Raiders.
It wasn't even close, to be honest. And like Texas Tech jumped out on them early in the game, and it was just an onslaught. It makes you wonder how they lost that game a couple of weeks ago, because this team looks like how it looked early in the season.
Emory said last week, I'm taking the Ohio State Purdue under 48.5 because only one team's going to be doing the scoring. Well, you were right. That hit 34-10. Ohio State won, so the under won. So we were 2-2 at that point. A&M, you love A&M. You laid 5.5 at Missouri. They won 38-17, Emory.
Don't look at Casey Concepcion and his height and think slot guy. That's a guy that can play outside as a wide receiver at the next level. He is a phenomenal day one type talent, in my opinion.
So I just remember watching A&M against Notre Dame, and A&M's receivers are the real deal. Notre Dame has some good corners, and A&M's receivers tore them up.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They are, in order for them to have success, they got to block first, because they are a run-based team that can also throw the football really well. So you're getting a complete player as a wide receiver, and Concepcion is also a dynamic return specialist, which will get him on the field right away as a rookie.
All right, then we got Syracuse, Miami. You went to the well again on the under 46.5, and you said only one team's going to be doing the scoring. You were right. Unfortunately, Miami did a little bit too much scoring. 38-10, you lost that one by 1.5 points.
And that late touchdown is what burned me with Syracuse getting on the scoreboard, because it was looking like 38-3 for the longest, and then boom, that late touchdown. But hey, so is life when you're betting.
Oregon laid the 6.5 at Iowa. You did. That missed because Oregon won the game, but it was 18-16. It was crazy, Emory, to watch Penn State, Indiana first, and then Oregon, Iowa. Penn State hadn't beaten the top 5 teams since 2016. They did what they needed to do to beat them on offense, but then they couldn't get the first down to close it out, and then they couldn't get a stop to close it out. Iowa goes down the field. They get the go-ahead touchdown. Iowa's going to beat a ranked team for the first time since 2021. And then Dante Moore made the throws. I mean, both those teams, Iowa and Penn State, were so close to ending those streaks, Emory.
If you told me what would have failed Iowa in this game, if it was going to come down to them pulling off the upset, I would have 1,000% said the offense. But it was the defense that gave up the big plays late. And shout out to Oregon, because, again, battle-tested team, got to win. They lost a close game like this earlier in the year to Indiana, but they found a way to win one against Iowa.
And by the way, Oregon ran the ball pretty effectively. Oregon is more of a bully, I think, than people realize. Washington, you laid the 11.5 at Wisconsin. What a win for the Fighting Luke Fickles. Wisconsin won 13-10.
Yeah, and shout out to Wisconsin, because they gave Luke Fickell the vote of confidence that he'll be back for 2026. Maybe that kind of bolstered their chances in this ball game to go out there and play inspired ball and win one for their coach.
Alabama, you laid the 10.5 against LSU. Bama won 20-9. Nice little half-point win there, Emory. And then Notre Dame, you said for a long time, Notre Dame understands the assignment. They were laying 24.5 against Navy. They won 49-10. I didn't know Navy's quarterback wasn't going to play. That was a bummer.
Right. That didn't that took away a lot of the luster from the game, man, because I want to see Blake Horvath do Blake Horvath things. But what we did see is top 5 pick Jeremiah Love do Jeremiah Love things, which is all the more better.
All right. This is crazy, Emory. You were 5-5. You've been 5-5 so many times this year. It's uncanny. However, you're still 59-55 on the season. So still has a winning record on the season, which is what matters as we move on to week 12. Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. Really into Twisted Tea these days. You know why? It's real brewed iced tea with a little twist, literally. It still has like the smooth, full flavor that you actually want to taste on game day. No carbonation, no weird aftertaste, but then it's got the perfect 5% of alcohol. So just the right kick to keep the tailgate rolling all day long. So when you're getting ready to root for your team this week, do not forget to stock up on Twisted Tea and keep it twisted. Loving the ability to watch seemingly every game these days online with streaming services. There's a new one. Whether it's NFL Sundays or college football games like Big Noon Saturday, NASCAR, MLB postseason, and more, with Fox One, you get it all. Live. Edge of your seat plays, jaw-dropping, high-octane moments, and that feeling like you're right in the action. I mean, listen, Super Bowls, NCAA games. I mean, think about all the stuff you can get. Fox One. We live for live. Streaming now. All right, Emory, let's start with Clemson at Louisville. You're going to take Clemson in the 3.5?
Yeah, I think this is a situation where we saw Louisville kind of shrink in the moment last week, getting upset. And Clemson, for whatever it's worth, will find a way to hang around in this ball game. And I also will probably sprinkle some on the money line because I can see them having some semblance of success late in this ball game to pull off the shot because I'm taking them plus the points.
All right. Emory likes, by the way, it's kind of bananas that Clemson is a underdog against Louisville, but they are 3.5 points. And Emory's taking the Clemson Tigers plus those 3.5. What about Notre Dame at Pitt? College game day is going to be there. Pitt's been playing well. Notre Dame's laying 10.5. I think Notre Dame has taken, I think Emory has taken Notre Dame with the points every week for the last 8 weeks. And I think they've covered almost every week for the last 8 weeks.
Right, and they're going to cover again in this one, even though it's at Pitt. But this the way the weather is setting up over the course of this week, Ross. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, run game, and Notre Dame's defense and Notre Dame's need to continue to win and rack up style points will help them cover this 10.5 point spread against Pitt. Despite Pitt playing well, despite all of the factors that go into this game, this used to be one of those games we grew up watching. Rocket Ishmael, I remember running through Pitt defense like Sherman did Atlanta. So I like this matchup historically, but I also like the fact that they got two good backs that are going to have a field day against the Panthers.
You know what's interesting? Notre Dame gets a lot of Western PA kids. Like Pittsburgh Central Catholic has sent, it seems like at least one kid a year, maybe two, to go to Notre Dame. This is a huge game for Pitt recruiting. I bet you they have every recruit they can get there. We'll see whether or not they can get it done. Okay, what about South Carolina and Texas A&M? You're going to go back to the under 48.5. Tell me about it.
Yeah, because I like both defenses in this game. South Carolina has tremendous athletes within their front seven, and we know what A&M does. And I just can't trust South Carolina on offense. And so if I look at an offense that's going to have the ability to score versus a good defense, it'll be Texas A&M more so than South Carolina. So I can see this one being 24-7, 31-7, all of which helps us cash this under.
All right, Emory's taking the under on South Carolina A&M, under 48.5. We got Michigan laying 9.5 at Northwestern, and you're laying it.
Hey, the Wildcats are playing really good football, and I know their stadium is on the way to being built, but man, the fact that they have the perfect setup on campus, like, you might want to rethink that, you know what I'm saying? But it's too late. The stadium is already, built, but man, they have a great scene for football, but I can see Michigan winning this game by 10, which helps us cash the cover the spread here because I just feel like they're just too strong in the trenches to not cover by 10 points or 11 points against the Wildcats.
So my wife got her MBA at Kellogg at Northwestern. So we lived there for a year. So I know where that stadium is. I have no idea where people are parking. But there is no parking. It's not even a thing. It's like, so they must like park somewhere else and then have those people shipped in, like shuttled in. But I'll say this, the old stadium was not that close to the campus. So, the students had to students and alumni had to get over there to go. There's so much value in on-campus stadiums.
1,000%.
It makes a huge difference. The difference between the students being able to just go out of their dorm room and walk to the game. And by the way, from downtown Evanston, where there's some hotels or where people live, and you can just walk right there to this campus, to the stadium, watch the game, as opposed to driving or Ubering. I guess like you said, it's too late now, but how many people, the problem is Northwestern does get big crowds when they play Ohio State or Penn State or someone with like a huge fan base. It's just a lot of away team fans, but they sell those tickets,
Right. It's just like when Tulane built the on-campus stadium. I remember going on a visit when I was getting recruited in high school, and they played in the Superdome at the time, and it's like 72,000, 75,000, but only like 12,000 were there. So naturally it looks cavernous in there. And so now with the on-campus stadium, they pack it out every time. So it gives a great home field advantage for the Green Wave.
That stadium's amazing.
Fantastic.
Every school like that should have a stadium like that. It is amazing. All right, let's get to some of these big-time games. Alabama, you're going to lay 7.5 against Oklahoma, Emory?
Yeah, I can't trust Oklahoma's offense week to week, and I feel like Alabama's defense is starting to get that groove again, where they're aggressive, they're active, and they're starting to strike fear in the opposing team. So all I need is a stop here or two from their defense, and that gives me enough confidence that the way their offense is playing right now with the passing game and Ty Simpson, I can see them covering the spread against Oklahoma.
Emory laying the 7.5 for the Crimson Tide against the Sooners. What about Georgia and Texas? The line is Georgia laying 6.5.
Georgia can score. This year's Georgia's offense is phenomenal in terms of like how much they are able to, find ways to put points up on the board. Now, their defense hadn't been the same defense we saw in recent years, but this year, at this juncture of the season, I think they're starting to kind of get it. So now when you think about a Texas team that's coming in, playing really well, Arch Manning has turned this season around and starting to play really well. This is a big game, but I just feel like Georgia's offense will kind of overwhelm Texas and find a way to create a double-digit lead, and then that defense will start to feast on the Texas offense.
So Emory's laying the 6.5 with the Bulldogs against the Longhorns. What about NC State and Miami? The Wolfpack are getting 14.5 points.
They've beaten Georgia Tech and they've beaten Virginia. And so they have been the ACC slayers so far this season. And I love how inspired they play when they play a team that's ranked. So we're going to see the best of NC State once again in this matchup. And the fact that they had 2 weeks to prepare for Miami, I think we'll see some few wrinkles in there as well. And you already know where I stand with CJ Bailey, the quarterback for NC State, and how well he is as a talent. So this is another opportunity for him to showcase himself versus a very good Miami defense, and going up against a pro quarterback on the other side. I think we'll see CJ Bailey. This will be his official coming out party. So I'm definitely taking them plus the points here.
Love it. Emory likes NC State plus the 14.5 big ones. What about Utah? The Utes are laying 8.5 at Baylor.
Finally on Utah's side of things, because they've shown me on the field that this is a team that's legit. The last couple of games, they've been able to, look like Utah. Point of attack play, outstanding. Running the football, big plays, timely big plays in the run game and in the passing game. Their quarterback is healthier now, so I like them here versus Baylor, who have been up and down all throughout the season, but you can't be up and down when you're facing a team like Utah that's playing red hot right now.
Ole Miss is, by the way, so Emory's laying the 8.5 with the Utes against the Baylor Bears. Ole Miss laying 15.5 against the Florida Gators. That's even wild to say.
Right. I can't trust Florida right now, offensively speaking. And, it's just this is the type of game where Lane Kiffin will, definitely show his when he has a chance to really blow out a name opponent. And how fitting is it that he has a chance to showcase himself against Florida, where all the rumors are, oh, we want to go get Lane Kiffin. I think this is the perfect game for Lane Kiffin to run up this score against the Gators.
You know what? That's exactly what he's going to do, or at least try to do. I really like that thought process there. Now, that's a lot of points.
It is.
Laying 15.5, that's a lot of points, but there's no question Lane Kiffin's trying to make a statement. He wants Florida to offer him the bag, I think. And so this is a great chance to go out and get the bag by putting a big number on him. Ole Miss minus the 15.5 against the Florida Gators. And then finally, Emory, UCLA, Ohio State.
Yeah.
You're going back to the underwell with the Buckeyes, huh?
Same logic, Ross. Like, I can't see UCLA finding points against Ohio State's defense. And Julian Sand is starting to play phenomenal football. Like, he has now become, a Heisman candidate. And so this is another scenario where one team will do all the scoring, and I trust the defense in Ohio State to make sure UCLA doesn't find the end zone.
Emory's taking Ohio State, UCLA under 48.5. Time to finish this episode strong right after this. I don't understand the science. Maybe it's because they're originally from Canada, but Labatt beer tastes even better in the winter. It is so good. And with buy beer, get gear from Labatt, just go to the website, snap a photo of your receipt, upload it instantly to rack up points for exclusive merch. You can get points for every purchase at any store, bar, stadium, any size, any product. It doesn't matter. Anywhere you're buying Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Go to rewards.labattusa.com to sign up. I'll recap in a couple minutes. I did want to say this, Emory, because you and I, we talk about this a lot during the pre-draft process. There are quarterbacks that, for whatever reason, they play their best when it matters the most, and they come up big late in games. There are others that don't. That's just not their thing. I got to tell you, some of the throws, like that one throw Dante Moore made for Oregon down the right sideline against Iowa, that was a beautiful. And by the way, he's like a California kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like in the freezing rain at Iowa. Dante Moore throws he didn't have like a huge game. By the way, their receivers are hurt, but he drops a beautiful ball down the right sideline that Oregon needed to have to win the game. And then Mendoza, listen, I know a couple of those were ridiculous catches by his guys, but he still put it in places where those guys had a chance to make ridiculous catches. And by the way, Penn State couldn't pick it off because they were so hard to catch. Both those guys, I know that they're like two of the hot guys now, but they both showed me something big time, I thought, on Saturday. On the road against good teams.
In high leverage situations, season on the line type scenarios, that's what you kind of want to see. And you don't want to see this every week, but you want to see it when it arrives, it presents itself. And this was both of those throws and both of those moments show you the difference between when people always ask this around draft time, accuracy and placement. And placement is just as important, if not a little bit more important than accuracy. So with the placement of Dante Moore's throw, he put it right in the pocket of his receiver going down the sideline to where he didn't have to do anything outside of what he was already doing, running toward the ball to catch it. And the placement on the Mendoza throw, he put it high at the crossbar, go up and get it, let your legs die, come down in bounds. either you're going to catch it or it's going to go out of bounds. When you saw that placement on the throw Mendoza made, it was just like Dwight Clark and Joe Montana on the catch. Put it up high and to where if it's going to either go out the back of the end zone or it's going to be caught for a touchdown. And now it's a situation. So placement is always important, if not a little bit more important than accuracy.
Let your legs die is a great expression that I'm going to use in games moving forward. You know, I think I've always said go limp. I never heard him say let your legs die. But, I mean, even I think the Penn State kid probably could have shoved him out more, but he was trying to push him out. Like, he had the right idea. And the kid, I still don't know how he did that with his foot. We see NFL guys that don't get the toe tap down all the time. And that for that college kid to do that in that situation was just insanity.
Yeah, here's the thing too. It's about, you know, when you're in that moment, it also goes for the receiver or the running back too. You are so confident in your skill set that you're not scared of the moment. Okay, I've done this 1,000 times in practice. This just is a game, and you're not hearing the crowd or you're not understanding the scenario or whatnot. You just know here's an opportunity for me to make a catch, get my feet in bounds. If he pushes me out, fine. But if not, I know I did my best effort to make sure I maximize the moment. So you could tell that receiver has done that 1,000 times in practice, the muscle memory to let that happen. Because a lot of guys panic in those scenarios, just like when the defensive back panics when the ball's in the air and can't make the play on the ball, juxtaposed to the one that is able to do that and make the play. Just like last night, we saw Nico Reed for the Chargers, you know, chase a corner route, flag route, turn around, track the ball like a center fielder, make the offhand attempt to knock it away before it was going to be a deep reception. Some guys panic and just try to get to the receiver. Nico Reed trusted his athleticism, got up and made a play on the ball. So you could tell guys who've done it 1,000 times in practice because that muscle memory manifests itself in the game.
Check him out on social media at FBall Game Plan. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. Love those of you. Check us out, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Other than that, the keg is kicked. We are all tapped out.
Thanks for tuning in to College Draft. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Even Money, and Fantasy Feast, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.